Hello everyone, welcome back to the journey to explore the deep ocean, where there are countless strange, dangerous but also fascinating things. In today's video, we will follow the brave fisherman from the land of the rising sun, Japan, on a very special journey, catching extremely venomous sea snakes, considered one of the most dangerous creatures in the ocean, and then turning them into a specialty dish with the unique and brave culinary culture of the Japanese people. Unlike familiar fish, or gentle sea creatures often encountered, sea snakes, especially those of the Hydrophini family, not only possess venom many times stronger than cobras, but are also temperamental, unpredictable and especially aggressive when threatened. However, in Japan, where people have long known how to conquer nature, sea snakes not only do not make them afraid but also become a valuable food source. Japanese fishermen not only hunt but also have the technique to process and remove toxins skillfully, then process them into raw dishes such as sea snake salad, a dish that amazes the world. The journey to hunt sea snakes often begins early in the morning, when the sun has not yet had time to shine on the clear water off the coast of Okinawa or the southern sea of Japan. Fishing boats are fully equipped with tools, from specialized nets, long hooks, thick gloves, to pre-set cold boxes to hold the snakes as soon as they are caught. Sea snakes often live in coastal coral areas, where the water is warm, the depth is moderate, and many small creatures such as small fish and squid are their main food. Fishermen must be extremely careful when approaching these areas, because just a small mistake, a sudden bite from a sea snake can seriously threaten their lives. What is special is that sea snakes are not caught in the usual way, such as pulling nets in large numbers. Because they are fast swimmers, moving flexibly between coral crevices, Japanese fishermen must use deep diving skills and observe with the naked eye. They dive into the sea, diving very deep, sometimes up to 20 to 30 meters, to search for the lurking silhouette of snakes with distinctive black, white, blue or metallic striped skin. Once they detect their prey, they use a hook to hold the snake from the neck. Then quickly put it in a specialized anti-snake bite bag. It all happens within a few seconds, precise, quick, and extremely dangerous. On the water surface, the support team is always on duty to receive the snakes, quickly putting them in ice boxes to reduce nerve activity, limiting the risk of biting people. After each dive, the number of snakes collected can range from a few to a few dozen. Depending on the luck and skill of the fisherman, this is not a job for the faint-hearted, as just a small bite from the Belcher sea snake, considered the most venomous in the world, can kill dozens of adults if not treated promptly. After bringing the snakes to land, the processing journey really begins, and this is where the bravery, ingenuity and carefulness of Japanese cuisine are most clearly demonstrated. At famous seafood markets such as tsukiji or long-standing traditional restaurants, licensed chefs will carry out the process of butchering the sea snakes with absolute precision. The first step is to remove the venom, located in the salivary gland behind the snake's upper jaw. This requires precise biological knowledge and extremely skilled hands. The chef will use a thin, sharp knife to cut from the head down to the neck, Cut off the venom gland. Then continue to cut open the belly and remove the internal organs. Each step requires high concentration, because just a small mistake such as breaking the venom gland. Hello everyone, welcome back to the journey to discover the mysteries and wonders of the natural world. In today's video, we will learn about a creature known as the sea monster of the ocean, eel, and how Japanese fishermen have conquered, captured and processed this special fish into quintessential dishes in their traditional cuisine. Eel, also known as unagi in Japanese, is a snake-like fish with a long and slippery body, often living in both saltwater and freshwater environments. In Japan, unagi is not only a popular dish but also has deep cultural significance. Especially popular on hot summer days to increase vitality and fight the heat. The journey of hunting eel by Japanese fishermen is a challenging process and requires high skills. The tradition of eel fishing has been around for centuries, with many unique methods developed over time. One of the traditional techniques is ishiguro ryo, or rock stacking fishing. Fishermen would stack large rocks underwater to create hiding places for the eels. After a while, they would return and catch the fish from these hiding places. There is also the unagi kaki method, which uses a special scythe called an unagi kama to catch eels from underwater crevices or caves. This method requires skill and experience, as even the slightest mistake could result in the eel escaping or endangering the catcher. In modern times, Japanese fishermen have developed more advanced fishing techniques, such as using specialized nets and traps. However, catching eels is not simple. Because they are a species with complex migratory habits and often hide in hard-to-reach areas. To catch eels, fishermen must clearly understand their living habits, habitats and migration times. After being caught, the eels are carefully processed to ensure the best quality meat. One of the traditional Japanese slaughtering methods is a kejimi, a technique that helps keep the fish meat fresh and retain its natural flavor. This method involves stabbing the fish's brain to kill it immediately, then removing the spinal cord and removing the blood, which helps prevent decomposition and maintain the quality of the meat. In Japanese cuisine, unagi is processed into many attractive dishes, but the most famous are kabeyaki and unadon. Kabeyaki is a method of grilling eels after they have been marinated in a special sauce made from soy sauce. Mirin and sugar. The fish is grilled over charcoal until golden brown, creating a rich and attractive flavor. Unadon is a rice dish with kabeyaki grilled eel on top, often served in traditional restaurants and is a favorite dish of many Japanese people. However, the consumption of eels in Japan has led to a significant decline in the number of this species in the wild. According to reports, the population of Japanese eels has decreased by nearly 90% in the past 3 decades. Leading to their being listed as an endangered species. This poses a major challenge to the eel fishing and farming industry, as well as requiring sustainable conservation and management measures. In response to this situation, many efforts have been made to develop sustainable eel farming methods and minimize the impact on wild populations. Some researchers have experimented with artificially reproducing eels in a controlled environment.
And it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own.
But the process has been difficult and has not been very successful. In addition, strict controls on eel fishing and trade are in place to protect the species from extinction. Despite the challenges, eels still hold an important place in Japanese culture and cuisine. Enjoying a meal of unagi is not only a culinary experience but also a connection to the country's long history and tradition. However, to ensure that future generations have the opportunity to enjoy this dish, conservation and sustainable use of eel resources is of utmost importance. A special stick called a kakibo is used to poke into crevices in rocks or mud where eels often hide. This is a job that requires patience and precision, as eels are extremely agile and can escape in the blink of an eye. Veteran fishermen often have the experience to read the current, guess where the fish are hiding and act decisively to catch their prey. However, the uniqueness in conquering eels does not stop at the technique, the art of hunting, but also lies in the journey of bringing this fish from the ocean to the table. After being caught, the eels will be released into clean water tanks to clean the intestines and remove toxins from the body. This is a very important step because the eel has a layer of mucus covering its entire body, both to protect it from predators, but also has the potential to cause allergies or indigestion if not handled properly. Longtime practitioners have their own way to remove this mucus by using hot water mixed with vinegar or rubbing with sea salt. The eel cutting process is also a true art. In Japan, there are two main schools of eel cutting: Kanto style and Kansai style. In the Kanto region, eels are usually cut along the spine, a tradition that originated in the samurai era. Because the ancient Japanese believed that cutting through the belly was unlucky, reminiscent of the seppuku ritual. Meanwhile, in the Kansai region, which is less influenced by the samurai ideology, eels are gutted from the belly, making it easier and faster to work with. After being gutted and cleaned, the eels are skewered on small bamboo sticks and then grilled briefly over charcoal to firm the meat. Next is the steaming step, which helps remove excess fat and soften the fish. Especially for large, mature fish. Finally, the fish is grilled a second time after being brushed with a special sweet sauce called tare, made from a mixture of soy sauce, sugar, mirin and fish bone broth. It is this sauce, combined with the aroma of charcoal, that creates the fragrant, fatty and rich flavor of grilled unagi that anyone who eats it once will never forget. More than just a dish, eel in Japan is also an indispensable part of traditional culinary culture. On Doyo no Ushi no Hai, the ox head day of summer, the Japanese have a custom of eating unagi to increase vitality and nourish the body. It is believed that on hot days, Eating eel will help replenish nutrition, restore energy and fight the sweltering heat of summer. Japanese fishermen, who have devoted their lives to catching eels, often consider their work as part of their cultural heritage. Although the work is hard and sometimes dangerous due to the harsh fishing environment and the strong, slippery eels, they always maintain a spirit of perfection in every step. Many families pass down the profession from generation to generation, attached to each bamboo trap, each familiar river section or rock, considering it part of the soul of the fishing village. In addition to serving domestic demand, Japan also exports eels to many countries around the world. Especially high-end markets such as the US, Europe and China. This contributes to boosting the local economy, creating jobs for thousands of workers, from fishermen to chefs, from farmers to traders. However, it should be noted that overexploitation of eels for decades has caused a sharp decline in the natural eel population. Especially the Japanese eel, Anguilla japonica. Faced with this situation, the Japanese government and people have implemented many measures to protect and maintain the sustainability of eel resources. One of the solutions is to develop an artificial eel farming model in a closed system of ponds and filter tanks. However, eels have a very special reproductive life cycle. They reproduce in the deep sea but mature in rivers and streams. So artificial reproduction is still difficult. Currently, Japanese scientists are working hard to research to be able to completely close the eel farming life cycle. Reduce pressure on wild individuals and ensure future consumer demand. In addition, some fishermen choose to catch eels seasonally and according to their growth cycle, not catching young fish or fish carrying eggs to ensure the regeneration of the species. This is not only a responsibility to nature but also demonstrates the traditional spirit of the Japanese people, living in harmony with the environment, appreciating every gift that the ocean gives. On the journey from the ocean to the dining table, eels have gone through many elaborate stages, being cherished and processed by the hands of true artisans. And also in that journey, we see a whole culture, a profound philosophy of life of the Japanese people. From hard work, adherence to discipline, to preserving natural resources and developing a sophisticated, emotional cuisine, sitting in front of a plate of golden grilled unagi, fragrant with the smell of sauce and charcoal, people not only enjoy the food, but also enjoy a long story full of humanity. It is a story about fishermen who brave the storms to hunt for sea monsters at the bottom of the ocean. A story about meticulous processing techniques and endless creativity in cuisine. And it is also a story about gratitude to nature, about how people live in harmony and develop sustainably in the modern industrialized era of the ocean. The sweat and effort of countless people who have worked day and night out at sea. Whether you Or a foodie, a culture enthusiast, or simply curious. We hope today's video has given you a deep and inspiring look at the mysterious sea monster, the eel, and how Japanese fishermen have conquered it for generations. If you find this content interesting, don't forget to leave a like, share the video and subscribe to the channel to continue accompanying us on the next journeys, where every creature, every profession, every story is a world worth exploring. Thank you and see you in the next videos. Not everyone knows that eels also have extremely strange biological characteristics. They are the fish species with the ability to migrate the farthest in the world. Each adult Japanese eel, after many years of living in rivers and lakes, will begin a journey of thousands of kilometers to the deep sea near the Mariana Islands to breed. A place that humans have not yet fully explored. Then, the eel larvae drift along the Kuroshio Current back to the coastal areas of Japan, China, Taiwan and Korea, where they continue their life cycle in freshwater. It is this mysterious life cycle that has led scientists to call eels fish from the spirit world. And perhaps because of that mystery, the Japanese always have a deep respect for eels. Professional fishermen often consider eels as the final challenge in their career. Catching a giant eel, over 1 meter long, weighing up to 7 to 8 kilograms, is a source of great pride and is often seen as a symbol of perseverance, courage and the spirit of never giving up. In areas such as Shizuoka, Hamamatsu or Lake Biwa, traditional fishing villages still maintain ancient fishing methods. Old men, with white hair and calloused hands, still patiently row their boats out to the river every morning, release bamboo traps soaked in mud, and wait quietly. It is patience, something that young people today rarely have the opportunity to experience. The story of the eel goes beyond culinary and biological aspects, but also opens up a broader picture about how humans must adjust themselves so as not to deplete nature. Today's fishermen understand that if they continue to exploit it excessively, eels may disappear from the ocean completely. That is why the Japanese government considers the management of eel resources a top priority. At fishing ports and aquaculture research centers, electronic chips are attached, catch monitoring is implemented, and even fishing bans during the breeding season are strictly enforced. In particular, chefs at traditional restaurants in Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka have also begun to participate in the Sustainable Unagi campaign. They choose to use farmed eels instead of wild eels, cooperate with certified farms, and find ways to convey the message of protecting this precious animal to diners through each dish. Some chefs have even created vegetarian versions of unagi, using eggplant, tofu, or seaweed as a substitute, both preserving the traditional flavor and being environmentally friendly. In addition, in the spiritual life of the Japanese, eels are also present in folk art, ukiyo-e woodblock prints, haiku poems, and even in mysterious legends about water dragons hiding in the depths of rivers. With a shape similar to a mythical snake, eels were once compared by the ancients to guardians of sacred water sources, a symbol of rebirth and immortality. In some rural areas of Japan, people believe that meeting eels at the beginning of the year is a sign of good luck, symbolizing tenacious vitality. Overcoming all obstacles, water worship rituals and summer festivals sometimes also feature eels as an indispensable part of agricultural beliefs associated with rivers. From there, we see that eels are not just a fish, they are a symbol of the connection between humans and nature, between tradition and modernity, between the spirit of conservation and the need for consumption. It is this harmony that has created a unique feature in Japanese culture, and makes this sea monster hunting journey so precious. In today's world, when technology and machines are gradually replacing human labor, when the global supply chain blurs the line between production and consumption, preserving crafts like eel fishing, with all its sophistication, meticulousness, and passion, is the way the Japanese preserve their national identity. We can see this clearly in the early morning markets in riverside towns, where people still line up to buy fresh eel in time for family meals. Or in old unagi shops, where chefs still light charcoal stoves by hand, watch the time every minute so that the fish is evenly cooked, and take care of every drop of the rich sauce passed down from their ancestors. It can be said that each piece of eel is not only a dish, but also a story, a long, vivid and emotional story about love for the profession, attachment to nature, and belief in the balance between humans and all things.